One of the more peculiar tide pools surrounding the sinking ship of the vegan movement in 2019 is the phenomenon of fake ex-vegans. Now, whether or not these people were fake vegans to begin with, I'm here describing people who are coming out on YouTube and making videos saying that they're quitting veganism, but then they clarify that they're continuing to eat a vegan diet. They're either rejecting the concept of veganism or in some even more phony way, just waving the flag of ex-veganism, apparently to get a larger number of viewers. The most dramatic and attention-grabbing example of this recently was Jon Venus. Jon Venus, who made, outrageously controversial video declaring his ex-veganism, and then he ended up making videos clarifying his position that he's going to continue to be something like 98% vegan while rejecting the word and concept of philosophy of veganism. It was a weak denouement to what started off as a truly banal drama. Well, Jon Venus is a guy who can consistently get more than 10,000 viewers on a video. And let's just pause to reflect on how many views that really is. A large part of my life, I've been surrounded by struggling academics, professors, and people with PhDs who could never give a lecture and expect 10,000 people to be interested, who could never publish a book and get 10,000 people to be interested. Let me just say also, I used to work in nonfiction publishing. A lot of people publish books and never make 5 cents out of it. They publish a book with a print run of 500 copies, and maybe 200 copies sell, but they sell over a period of 10 years. So like in the first year the book is published, like not even 100 copies get sold. And people work their whole lives to write those books, and a lot of people work their whole lives to get on stage and give that lecture, and they care about this stuff passionately, and they can never reach an audience of 10,000 people. So there's a sense in which you could say, well, gee, Jon Venus should be happy with his audience of 10,000 people. But there's a sense in which he obviously isn't. His whole life has been devoted to developing his physique, lifting weights, and giving other people advice on lifting weights. And that gets repetitious quick. He's looking around, he's got a wife and kid, and he's saying to himself, other people are famous and making a lot more money flexing their biceps. Why not me? Well, on a whole nother level, a guy you may remember from about 3 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, Jason Pizzino, also made his name by flexing his biceps here on YouTube. He gave advice on health and fitness, and he had his shirt off a lot and this kind of thing. Oh, as you can see from these shots too, he has his girlfriend's chest on camera also trying to get views. When I checked his channel before his ex-vegan announcement, he had several videos that were way down at 40 views. 40. And a couple years ago, his channel was huge. His influence was huge. He had a lot of viewers and a lot of people who knew his name, and a lot of people respect him. And he worked hard to get that level of notoriety within the vegan scene. But what do you know? His channel has, it's part of the sinking ship of veganism. He himself lost interest in veganism, and veganism lost interest in him. And he was getting down to fewer than 100 views per video routinely. And what does he decide to do to get some new vitality and interest in his channel? Bing! What do you know? He goes from being a fake vegan to being a fake ex-vegan. Now, yeah, sure, 5,000 views is not a huge number, but when you were struggling to get just 100 views, I guess that motivated him to make this ridiculous announcement. Saoirse Morava, old school voice in the vegan game, also a struggling actress. If you look her up on IMDb, you can see her rap sheet. You can see how many roles she's managed to land in the last 5 years. Small roles in small films. Living in Los Angeles, posting sexy pictures of herself on Instagram. She's not the only one. She's got competition going to each of those casting calls. She's got competition for every one of those roles. She's got competition on Instagram. She's got competition here within vegan YouTube. And what do you know? She gets a couple videos in a row there with really low numbers, 1,000, 3,000, 2,000. And then, bing, she decides to do this fake ex-vegan thing. she has a video called "I'm Also No Longer Vegan?" ? And it's 12,000 views. Guys, you know, there are times when this movement gets to such a low ebb, the whole scene gets so depressing, that I start to ask whether or not veganism has a future. But I don't think anyone is even going to ask whether or not fame whoring through ex-veganism has a future. If veganism has no future, anti-veganism has even less of a future. If nobody's getting famous or getting money or getting influence or social media status through veganism, you must realize what a dead-ended, counterproductive thing it is to try to chase the same fame or notoriety or what have you through ex-veganism. Obviously, that can only be a very short-term strategy. And if you look at a channel like Kasumi Chris, there are so many examples. People who rejected veganism and briefly got a bunch of views, or they made videos talking about their first time eating meat after so many years, not eating meat and this kind of thing. What they find is not only that they have no enduring relationship with that audience, who briefly stopped by to pat them on the back, and maybe to pat themselves on the back and gloat that veganism is supposedly an impossible or difficult to sustain ideal, whatever. These people find new excuses for their old bad habits and then quickly move on. Aside from that, ex-veganism and anti-veganism is never going to give them the sense of meaning and direction they had in their lives when veganism was the content that they came on YouTube to preach. What is the moral of the story? Get on the microphone when you have something to say. Get on camera when you have something to say. Say things that are meaningful. Make videos that you would want to watch yourself if you came back after you'd forgotten what they were about 5 years later and were rewatching the videos on your own channel. These are really basic guidelines. Oh, hey, and reach out to people, interact with people, collaborate with people with the same level of civility, sympathy, humanity, empathy that you would extend to someone if you met them in a coffee shop. Those are my guidelines for getting on YouTube and staying on YouTube. And you know what? You'll find that the rewards are much greater than scraping your way through a PhD program, scraping your way into a publisher's office, publishing a book, so on and so forth. Those are paths I've seen others take around me. My ex-wife had a PhD from Cambridge University. She could put a lecture on YouTube right now. Ain't none of y'all gonna want to hear it. She has published books. Ain't none of y'all gonna read them. So the beauty of YouTube is you get to find your audience gets to find you. But the commitment you have to make is fundamentally to real talk.
I mean, really, people like to disrespect my crew, but the fact is that you know my name and I don't know you.